Many of you are already sitting because the title that I gave to this video. Many of you are already really angry. Many of you are already having thousands of spasms because of your anger. Because I dare to say that Fable is an overrated game. And on top of that, I say that it's woke. So you're probably really mad right now. So let's go straight to the point. Is Fable a bad game? No, it's not a bad game. But I have to clarify that because you are mentally ill fanatics, and the moment someone says that something is overrated, you overreact and you immediately believe that that means the game is garbage, that the game is trash, or that the game is the worst thing ever. You are completely used to be polarized into black or white, just like how people with borderline personality disorder operate. So no, Fable is not a bad game, but I will argue that it's not a good game either. It's not even less a great game, because many fanatics oversell Fable like the fanatics of any fucking game. They always oversell their games, their favorite games, and the only thing they accomplish is people try these games out and they feel disappointed because the game under-delivers on the promises that the fanatics made to the people. The fanatics oversell their games, and then they complain when people like me play the games and are disappointed because we don't find the game that they were selling to us. We don't find it. And this was already a problem back then. Fable was already a disappointment in 2004 when the game released. See, this game was created or was directed by a guy with the name Steven Sharif, Peter Molyneux, which essentially was the Steven Sharif of single-player games back in the 2000s. And just like Steven Sharif with Ashes of Creation, he oversold his product. Now, I recommend you to go and watch the video of Nico Tulo about how garbage Ashes of Creation was on release, or quote-unquote release. That's the only video, the only honest video that was exposing how bad Ashes of Creation was and why the game was never going to come out. Only imbeciles believed that Ashes of Creation was something that was actually one day was going to release exactly as Steven Sharif said. Well, the same happened back in 2000 with Peter Molyneux and his vague promises, his empty promises about what was Fable going to be. So even back then in 2004 when Fable released, it was a fucking disappointment for many people. So sorry if now in 2026 I also feel fucking disappointed, because I have been hearing empty promises from fanatics about the Fable series for 22 years. Like I said, this doesn't mean the game is bad. The game is actually quite fun. And in my opinion, when you have a fun game, you already accomplished your goal, because games are to have fun. Very rarely a game is going to be this masterpiece, this 10 out of 10 game that is going to make history. Very rarely that happens. The problem is with fanatics is that they don't accept that. Their fucking narcissism makes them believe that all the things they like have to be 10 out of 10. Game of the year, game of the decade, game of the fucking century. You're fucking retarded, my guy. The world doesn't work like that. Gaming doesn't work like that. Very few games make actual history, and Fable is not one of those. Well, it kinda make history because it was a fucking disappointment even back then. So let's go and tackle why do I say the game is woke. For starters, I already hear the objections. Oh, how can a game be woke in 2000? Woke didn't even exist. That's the mentality of a completely ignorant person on the matter. You are too used to listening to these grifters, these right-wing grifters that popularized the term woke. But you don't really understand what woke means. And I am not saying it as the left say so. Because the left say, oh, you don't even know what woke means. They always say that to try to maneuver around definitions. No, I am saying it honestly. You don't know what woke means. And what woke means is cultural Marxism. And cultural Marxism was created around 1930s. Around the 1930s was when cultural Marxism was created in the Frankfurt School. I am not going to get too deep into this because if you want to know more, you should make your own research around this subject. What I can tell you is that cultural Marxism is Marxism applied to culture, the oppressed versus the oppressors. This is why you see women versus men, white versus black, straight versus homosexuals, etc. So according to me, 1930s is way before the 2000s. So there is nothing strange about me saying that Fable is woke. It was possibly one of the first games that pushed cultural Marxism very heavily, because back then most of the pushing was very subtle. It wasn't really in your face constantly. So why do I say Fable is woke? Pretty simple. Fable is supposed to be based in Albion. Albion is an alternative name for Great Britain. So as far as I know, Great Britain is a white country, and if we go back, way back then, I don't believe there were many blacks back then. So why is it that we have 2 blacks in the game? And not only that, we have an empowered black woman in the game. Why is it that? Why is it that this black woman is actually your rival or your quote-unquote friend? Why is it that this woman is so important for the plot? Now, you can kill her. I fucking killed that bitch. Obnoxious motherfucker. You want to play a warrior? You're going to die like a warrior. So there is that, but there is also another empowered woman, your own mother. Turns out that your own mother is the greatest warrior Albion has ever known. What the fuck is that shit? What the fuck is that? Seriously, you want me to believe that that is a normal thing? I will not accept that shit. I will not. I fucking hate empowered women in video games. Now, you can say, it's a fantasy world. I don't give a shit. Because the problem is, I see a pattern here. If it was only the fact that your mother is the greatest warrior of all, it's already fucking ridiculous. But if it was only that, I will second guess myself. But it's not the only thing. You can be gay. You can actually be an homosexual in this game. Now, for many of you, there is not a problem in that. And maybe to me there isn't really a problem there, but you know what is the problem? The problem is that this game was played by kids, and you can't tell me that this type of media, this type of entertainment that is directed towards children is not going to affect their perception of their world, their worldview. Many of you were shaped, your mind was shaped by this entertainment, by these games. So you can also disguise as a woman in this game, and you can actually prostitute yourself. Your sister is another empowered woman. She is blind, but also happens that she is also a great warrior. She's a seer. She also happens to have ibristophilia because she ends up with a gang of bandits and works for them. So this game is pretty woke, and it's probably one of the first games that actually pushed this woke agenda, cultural Marxism, in a very heavy way back then. Many of you are going to say, no, that's not woke, you're over-exaggerating. And to me that only speaks volumes about how much this agenda has succeeded in changing the minds of people, in infecting their minds. That's to me what you're saying, that you're infected and you accept these things. So now I am going to talk about the actual gameplay of the game. In my opinion, Fable 1 is a game that completely under-delivers. It feels unfinished. The UI is horrible. It's even worse than the UI in Crimson Desert. Now, of course, this is a game made in 2004. Why the fuck I am comparing it to a game that was made up in 2026? It's because Crimson Desert is also a pretty bad game, and it speaks volumes about how bad Crimson Desert is if I am actually comparing it to a game that released in 2004. The combat is a piece of shit in Fable. Now, I am going to say this first. I played the game in heroic mode. Now, I don't recommend you to play the game in heroic mode. No one should be playing the game in heroic mode because it ruins the game. It's not that the game becomes too difficult. It's not that. It's that the problems with the combat become more frustrating. It's also the fact that playing in heroic mode completely guts the market. You see, in Fable, there is a cool mechanic where different merchants around the world need different things, and there is a supply and demand mechanic where when a merchant lacks something, they are going to need that something and they are going to pay more money for that. There is also a quote-unquote exploit that you can use to buy all the stuff that a merchant has to offer, and then you can sell the same stuff to him even more expensive. Now that's trash in my opinion, that you can even exploit the game that way, but it's impossible to do in heroic mode. And the problem I have with that is not that they quote-unquote fixed, is that that is not a fucking fix. You just destroyed the mechanic. Because in heroic mode, essentially the supply and demand mechanic doesn't work. So the lazy route they took was to destroy the supply and demand mechanic instead of actually fixing the mechanic itself. So I don't recommend you to play in heroic mode just because of the market and because in the combat you will become more frustrated. Like I said, it's not that the combat is difficult. It's not that the game becomes difficult in heroic mode. It's a bit more difficult, and I find the difficulty actually decent in heroic mode. People say that if you play the game on the normal difficulty, it's way too easy, and I am inclined to believe that. So the combat sucks in general because essentially the combat is stun lock the video game.
What is cancer?
Stop it. Get some help.
It's just that fucking garbage. The problem doesn't arise too much when you're fighting normal enemies. It is already noticeable, but you will notice it more when you're fighting golems. Fuck that shit. Especially ice golems, they are just fucking cheap garbage. You are going to be constantly stun locked, especially if you're fighting more than one golem, which happens very often. So you're going to be stun locked constantly, consistently by the rocks that these trolls launch to you. These golems. Fuck that shit. It's just so fucking garbage. Now there's another problem with this game, is the fact that whenever you initiate a quest, quests in this game work like missions, like if you were playing a very linear game. It's not your typical quests of traditional RPGs where you just go and do the quest and then you go back to the quest giver and just deliver the quest and you receive your reward. It's not like that. It's like you are entering a linear mission, like you were playing a platformer or something like that. So the problem with that is that if you fail the mission, you're forced to repeat the whole fucking mission again. Now, to be fair, the game is quite easy even on heroic mode, so this will not happen often, but the problem is when it does happen, it's probably because that mission is particularly more difficult than the norm. So when it does happen, it will hurt you like a bitch. You are going to hate the game for that. I don't understand why they approached this quest system in this way. I just don't understand. It feels stupid. It feels too gamey and less immersive, and also it's very punishing. For example, there is an arena quest where you have to face battles one after the other in the arena, and I thought that I could just go do a few battles and then go back to the world, do some other stuff and then come back and continue the battles. No, you have to do the whole arena in one go, and guess what? If you saved inside the mission, you're fucked. You have to do the fucking mission now, because otherwise if you don't have a previous save, you are fucked. You're completely fucked. And I can see that happening to some people. I can guarantee you that some people had to restart the fucking game because they saved in a very compromised position at that point in the game. That's completely unreasonable and retarded, forcing the players to finish a mission before they can continue, and also they cannot get out of that mission, they cannot cancel it. That's just garbage game design. In my opinion, mana, I don't know if this is a problem with heroic mode, but in my opinion, spells cost too much mana. I don't know if that's the same in normal mode, but I am going to say it because that was my experience, that spells cost too much mana. And at the beginning is quite annoying that you are not rich, you don't have a lot of money, so buying mana potions is out of the question. So you have to wait, you have to sit there and wait until your mana recovers, and the problem is that there is no way to speed up the mana recovery until way late into the fucking game, possibly by the end game. The world, in my opinion, in Fable 1 is pretty bad. It's just linear. The world is just fucking corridors. It's just corridors. Corridors, corridors, and corridors. The world feels anticlimactic, it's not immersive. It feels way too linear. Feels too simple. I also don't like the mechanic where there are these doors spread around the world that are closed and you have to open them doing specific things. Like, for example, there is a door that will only open if you are fat. Stupid shit like that. So I am not going to do that. I am not going to engage in that type of fucking mechanic. I hate that shit. I fucking hate that shit. I don't like this. Oh, we are going to close sections of the world to you, and in order for you to open that parts of the world, you're going to have to do very specific things. I don't like that shit. I don't like that. That shit sucks. It's fucking horrible game design. It's lazy game design. It's a way to artificially try to increase the duration of your game by forcing the player to do all kinds of fucking shenanigans to get into these stupid doors. Fuck you. I am not going to engage with that shit. Same thing happens with silver keys and these chests. To open these chests, you require a certain number of keys. And all of a sudden, it feels like I am not playing a role-playing game. It feels like I am playing a fucking platformer, like I am playing Donkey Kong 64, and I need a certain amount of bananas to get my fucking prize. That's just fucking dumb. Why do you implement this kind of mechanics in a role-playing game? It's retarded. And the problem is, these silver keys and these chests are tied to these fucking doors that I spoke about previously. Many of these silver keys are going to be hidden in those fucking doors. Fuck you, dude. I am not going to engage with your shitty systems. You should have made your game an actual role-playing game with actual RPG mechanics instead of these platformer mechanics that don't belong in this fucking genre. You can play a mage, but there are no staffs. There are no fucking staffs. There is only one staff and it's fucking trash. It was a DLC weapon and it's fucking trash. In fact, let's speak about the gearing in this game. The armors, for example. The only thing that matters when you are talking about armor is actually the armor rating. How much defense each piece of armor provides to you. There is nothing more that matters. For example, you will think that magician robes, wizard robes are going to grant you more mana regeneration, or they are going to help you to increase the damage of your spells or something. But no, you will be incorrect, because this game doesn't have basic role-playing mechanics. So it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters in Fable is the defense value. So even someone that focused at the beginning in Magic is going to want to wear the heaviest armor possible, because that's what provides the best defense. It's fucking pathetic. Now let's talk about weapons. There are many types of weapons, and guess what? The only thing that matters is the damage. Nothing else fucking matters. Nothing fucking else. Maybe the speed, the attack speed, and that's fucking it. But guess what? If you are using a one-handed weapon, it's going to be faster than a two-handed weapon. But that's it. Because if you are trying to find out what's the difference between a great axe, a two-handed axe, and a great sword, the only thing that changes is that the great sword has more attack power and the great axe has less attack power. So what do you get in return if you choose to wield the axe, the great axe? Absolutely nothing. So what's even the fucking point of having maces, axes, and all of those different types of weapons? What's even the fucking point? There's no point. The RPG mechanics in this game are just so fucking lame, so bare bones. Now, there is also this mechanic where you can augment your weapons. You use gemstones and you socket in those gemstones in your weapons. You cannot socket these gems into your armor. So armor is even more boring. You can socket these gemstones into your weapons, and weapons have slots that you can put these augments in. But the problem is that these augments, you don't see them for most of your playthrough. You can't even buy them for most of your playthrough. They are barely even given to you. They are really scarce. For example, I needed a mana regeneration augment, and I only go to one when I already finished the original story of the game. That's how bad the shit is. Now, they tried to more or less quote unquote fix it in the last chapter's expansion, and now there is a town that sells them, but it's too fucking late. In my opinion, it's way too late. And only being able to place these augments in weapons, it's just fucking bare bones. It's just as bare bones as it gets. It's not really that good. It's lame. And on top of that, there is barely any different armors and weapons. It feels like the game is unfinished. It feels like it lacks a ton of content. I don't understand why people say Fable 1 is my favorite game ever. Brother, you have very low standards. You're a fanatic, because this game is super bare bones. You need to understand that we already had Morrowind when Fable 1 was released. We already had Morrowind. And in Morrowind you can enchant all the different pieces of armor and shit that you can equip, can have multiple enchants. And you're telling me that in Fable you can only augment your weapons, and that there is barely any armors and weapons in the game, and that these armors and weapons don't even fucking matter? I mean, we already had games like Knights of the Old Republic. Like, what are you talking about, my guy? Because you need to place yourself in context. I am placing myself in the context of the times. And at the time we had Dragon Quest 8. We had Final Fantasy 12. What the fuck are you talking about? This game is fucking bare bones. Now, I am going to mention a few things that I do like about the game. I do like that your character morphs. If you increase your strength, your character is going to be more bulky. He's going to be more strong, and it's going to be reflected in the physique of your character. I fucking really dig that shit. Also, your character is going to grow older as time passes. That is fucking amazing. I love that fucking shit. But the problem is that it feels stupid because you are the only one that ages. Everyone around you doesn't. So it feels weird. It feels out of place. But I really like that shit. Another great thing about the game is that you can customize your character pretty decently. There are tons of tattoos and hairstyles and beards that you can use. That's great. Another thing that I like is the fucking music. The music and the overall setting, the art style, these three things carry this game hard. The music is really fucking good, the art style is fucking amazing, and the setting is peak. This game is carried hard by these three aspects, not by all the false promises and the false claims that, oh, you can interact with the villagers and it's really good because you can plant a seed in this place and you're going to watch the tree grow like fucking Peter Molyneux promised back then. No, it's not carried by those elements. It's carried hard by, like I said, the music, the setting, and the art style. Those three make this game quite special in my opinion. Now let's talk about the aspects that are supposedly going to be the reason why you're playing Fable, which means the ability to more or less interact with the NPCs and the world. And I'm going to tell you straight, it's fucking lame. it's bare bones. So you can marry, but it doesn't fucking serve any purpose. I received a few gifts from my wife, and one of those gifts was actually pretty neat, but the other two were fucking trash. And other than that, there is no point. There is no fucking point. The interactions that you can have with the villagers are pretty bare bones. You can gloat and they are essentially, there is a point in the game where they love you by default. They essentially love you just by being there around them, because you have so many renown and you have all of these pieces of equipment where you are very charismatic and you're very attractive to them. So pair that with the renown and everybody loves you. So obviously I played a good character. I think if you want to have more interactions with the world, you probably want to do an evil playthrough, because a goody pants playthrough, it's pretty fucking lame, and in my opinion you don't get anything out of it. These games, Fable was sold as a game with tons of interactions and tons of shit, and it completely under-delivered, and it's nothing special, my guys. You had Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire. In Knights of the Old Republic you actually have a decent moral system. You can become a Jedi or a Sith, and in this game you can also become bad, and that's cool. I like it. It's another game that does that. That's good, that's great. But in my opinion, the interactions, the consequences of taking certain actions or making some decisions are not really super impactful. The story is fucking trash. The story is fucking trash. My empowered mother warrior, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. And the evil guy, the antagonist, it's a fucking clown. It's a clown. I don't understand who can take this story seriously. It's just, it feels cartoonish. It feels like it's a story for kids. It just feels really bad. Another good aspect that I really like is that in this game you actually can live a power fantasy. Your character actually starts very lame and you end up being basically a demigod. You can do all sorts of things, and the magic spells are actually pretty good. I do enjoy the magic in this game. I think it's pretty good. And building your character, the way you gain experience points, the way you spend these experience points, I think all of that system is really well thought. I think that's great. The fact that you have this green experience that you can use for any of the three colors, like the red for physical attributes, the blue for magic attributes, and the yellow for your roguish attributes. I think it's really good. I think this system really works, and the only quote-unquote problem I have with this system is that at the end of the game you will be the master of everything. Like I said, you're going to become a fucking demigod. You're going to be able to max everything. Some people like that, and some people would have preferred that you were more limited. I personally like both options, so I am not considering this as a bad thing, but some people will not like the fact that you can become almighty. But in this game you can actually live the fantasy, this power fantasy of being an overly powerful being, overly unstoppable being that will rain destruction everywhere around you. It's really good. So there are good aspects about this game, and the good aspects are actually pretty good. This is why I don't think the game is a bad game, even though I have issues with the combat. Because another thing that I forgot to say, the fucking enemies, especially the hardest enemies, are constantly blocking your attacks. It's just fucking trash. Now, you get a powerful attack to break the guard of these guys, but it's fucking annoying. And also at the end game, you are going to, basically the game is balanced around you using the time stop or the slow time spell. You essentially, by the end game, if you haven't maxed out the slow time spell, you're going to be punished, because many enemies and many encounters, including the final boss of the game, the dragon, require you to use slow time, because if you don't use it, it's going to be painful. Many enemies are quite cheap. Now, this is in the context that I played in heroic mode, and I am telling you again, don't fucking play the game in heroic mode. It's fucking trash. Don't do it. Play it in normal mode, as the game was originally envisioned. Don't try to do this fucking heroic mode, it's fucking trash. So, what will be the score that I will give to this game? In my opinion, this game is a 7 out of 10. I don't think is super bad or bad at all. I don't think the game is great. I don't think the game is good even. I think it's decent, and I am giving it a 7 because I do believe the game is actually fun. And that's, in my opinion, the main goal of video games, to be fun. And if a game accomplished that, even after all the issues, even if the game is not the best RPG ever, even if it fails to give you this meaty RPG experience like Morrowind, even if it fails to give you that, even if it fails to give you a deep alignment system like in Knights of the Old Republic, even if it fails to do that, if after that the game is still fun, in my opinion the game is decent and it accomplished its goal, which was to be fun. This is why you shouldn't be a fanatic. It's not fucking worth it. I like a ton of fucking games that are probably 6, 5s, 7s. Not every game that you like is a 10 out of 10. You need to actually start using your brain and start to combat your own narcissism. Not every game that you like is the masterpiece that you think it is. But that doesn't mean that the game is bad. Well, maybe you are one of those people that actually like bad games. But even then, no one can deny you the right that you have to enjoy something. Even if it's considered by 90% of the people as trash, no one can deny you the right to like that thing and enjoy it and have fun with it. The problem is that you are weak-minded. You are weak-minded and you are conditioned to have group thinking, and you're conditioned to feel like if the majority of people disagrees with you, you should feel bad and you're wrong. That's stupid. That's an ad populum fallacy, and you shouldn't behave that way. You should surpass, you should conquer your own mind, and you should be able to enjoy the things that you like. It doesn't matter if the rest of the world doesn't enjoy them. You don't need to waste your air, to put a lot of effort into convincing everyone that the things that you like are the best thing ever. You don't need to do that. It's fucking exhausting. Why are you doing that? Just enjoy the things that you like and be done with it. You need to accept this reality. Not everything that you like is going to be the best thing ever. Many of you are attached to many games because of nostalgia, because at that moment in time you were having a great time, so you remember these games fondly, and that's your right. You're not wrong for doing that. But the problem is when you take that and you push it into fanatic territory, into fanaticism, and all of a sudden this game is the best game ever, and everyone that criticizes this game is a hater and it's wrong. No dude, that's fucking unhealthy. So in my opinion, Fable is a decent game, but it's overrated. I am going to continue to play the next installments of this series. I am already starting Fable 2, and I am also going to play Fable 3, and I am going to make a review of those games too, but also I am going to make a final video talking about in general about the Fable series. But what I can tell you right now, I don't want to hear you, any motherfuckers, telling you or complaining that the new Fable that is going to release later this year is woke. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to fucking listen to you, because the original game is already woke. So, oh, the new Fable is woke? Who cares? It was already fucking woke. And this is not me trying to say that you shouldn't care. No. But the problem is that you already accepted it, because it was woke back then. So, yes, it can become way more woke, but it is what it is. Fable was always woke.